What's going on, everybody? My name's Chris. Welcome back to Bourbon Sane. We got some major breaking news in the bourbon world today. Buffalo Trace announced that they are going to be adding a sixth product to their Buffalo Trace Antique Collection, Colonel E.H. Taylor. Now, this news did kind of shake the bourbon world, and there's been mixed reviews on it. I wanted to discuss this, talk some Taylor with you guys, and let you know my thoughts about this. So, for those of you that don't know what the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection is, it's pretty much the highest level of Buffalo Trace's products. A lot of the older aged products, very limited, very allocated, nearly impossible to find for us everyday hunters. So far in the collection, before they added the E.H. Taylor, we had the George T. Stagg, always a high proof monster and delicious. William LaRue Weller, which is the granddad of Weller, full-proof, special reserve, all that, the 12-year. Thomas H. Handy, which is a rye whiskey that is high proof. And then Sazerac 18-year-old rye whiskey. And Eagle Rare 17. So 17-year-old Eagle Rare, usually lower proof as well. But adding E.H. Taylor to it is a big step. And for me, it was more about them just getting E.H. Taylor, his recognition. Getting him pretty much in the Hall of Fame of Buffalo Trace. So to me, that's what it's about. For those of you that don't know about E.H. Taylor, this brand has been out for a while. They have several different expressions. We've got the small batch, single barrel, straight rye. They also have a barrel proof, which is just wonderful. There's been limited special releases as well. Amaranth Grain of the Gods, 4 grain, 18-year marriage. So they've put out some also limited, they're all limited really, but special releases as well of these. And there's not many details given about what the new addition to BTAC is going to be. So I'm curious to see. We do know it's going to be bottled in bond. We do know it's going to be 100 proof. But this is the first addition to BTAC since 06. And in 06, they added the Thomas H. Handy. 02, previous to that, was when they added the George T. Stagg. So originally, they only had those main three, the Sazerac, Eagle Rare, and William LaRue Weller. So this is big news, big addition, and I'm kind of torn on it. So the major question I've been getting with this is, hey, is this going to mean that the regular E.H. Taylor, the small batch, single barrel, all those, is it going off the market? Is it just going to be this limited release with one product? And the answer to that is we don't really know. In the press release, there was no information given. To me, I think they're still going to be releasing these. I do. I just think that the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection E.H. Taylor is going to be probably obviously a lot higher aged. Still that 100 proof, but it's going to be an even more allocated, even more limited release, just like the rest of the BTACs. So I highly doubt they're going to do away with the E.H. Taylor line, the rest of the main products. However, Buffalo Trace did recently go through flooding. They had a lot of flooding happen in April, and supposedly E.H. Taylor warehouses were part of the affected batch. So that being said, we don't really know how much or if any, Buffalo Trace lost. I did hear there was some loss with the E.H. Taylor brand. So if it reaches that point to where they lost that many barrels in the floods, then it's possible we could see just a once-a-year release towards Christmas time, December, of this just being in Buffalo Trace Antique Collection, But I don't think that's going to be the case. I really don't. I still think they'll keep these out there, and it'll just be a limited release. We still get Stagg Jr. As far as the the George T. Stagg, we still see Weller, higher end, and William LaRue Weller, obviously for the higher end. So I think that's still going to be out there and not attainable maybe. As a lot of you know, these bottles are almost never on the shelf. Almost never. I've had these for a while. Luckily, I knew some people and made good relationships with store owners. That was really the only way I could get them. In Michigan, outside of me knowing someone, I think I've ever seen the small batch one time, straight rye. I had to pay overpriced for it, which I wasn't happy about at the time. So, but overall, this is big news for the whiskey world. So I want to know what you guys think about the addition. To me, it's probably just another marketing ploy from Buffalo Trace. Honestly, they are the best marketed bourbon company in the world. Whoever's in charge of their marketing department is extremely savvy. Whiskeys you can't find and everyone wants them. Not only is it just marketing, but I do think they wanted to kind of enshrine, as mentioned, E.H. Taylor into that Hall of Fame. He was part of their original distillery plan. E.H. Taylor was. Just like we got everyone else, Elmer T. Lee, Blanton's, all that. All those were part of the original history of Buffalo Trace. So it's only fitting that he does get into the Hall of Fame of bourbon to me. I do hope that the bottles are, I know they're not going to be attainable, but I do hope they do something special with the release. It's still going to be bottled in bond, still going to be 100 proof, but I hope it's something. The question is it going to be the same thing every year? Is it going to be a 20-year-old E.H. Taylor, you know what I mean? Or 15-year-old E.H. Taylor, or is it going to be different varieties? You know, is it going to be like a 4-grain or whatever? You know what I mean? Are they going to do varieties with that too? So a lot's unknown at the moment, but either way, it's big news. So let me know what you guys think. You know, let me know what you think. Do you guys like E.H. Taylor? Are you fans of E.H. Taylor? This was one of the first bottles I always, you know, seeked out when I first got into bourbon, the small batch. And then, of course, it's good. You know, it's solid, very fruit forward, youthful. You know, youthful in the small batch, but single barrel's a step up. The rye is delicious. And then the barrel proof is one of my favorites, honestly. Classic Buffalo Trace profile, popped up in proof like that, and it's wonderful. So yeah, it's good. It's good bourbon. It's just hard to find. So I want to hear what you guys think about it. Do you think it's just pure marketing from Buffalo Trace? Do you think there's more to that? And do you think these will still be around? Like I said, I really do think they will, but I want to know what you guys think. If you haven't already, do check out my website, bourbonsane.com. I actually wrote an article about these as well, kind of my thoughts on the product, what we talked about, but I go into more detail there on the website and give you kind of more insight and that kind of stuff. So if you do want to check that out, give it a follow, give it a read over there. I appreciate you checking out this video today. Thanks for watching with me. Stay insane, everyone.